marker that I got at Joann's. I think I used a coupon for it. It is 1 inch from the outer diameter. I have an embroidery needle, the larger ones, and I've looped my thread so that the end of the thread is the loop, and I threaded the 2 ends through the needle. So that way when I loop it through, it will form, I don't need a knot. I will just put a slip through the loop. So you go down through the hole, and then I just go up through my loop right here. Oops, took it with me. And there you can see I've got it secured. Now you're going to do a blanket stitch. And a blanket stitch, you're going to go down through the hole, and then you'll have this, the thread that you're pulling through, you're going to come up through it. This is called a blanket stitch. So you can see a little bit there. It forms like a little catch at the top here. So I'll do that again. You go down through the hole, and come up through the loop that you've created. There you can see me coming back up through the loop, and it catches the yarn. And now I've got 2 stitches. You're going to do this all the way around the loop. So I'm going to work a little faster now and show you what it looks like when it's done. Down through the loop, up through the loop that I've created, down through the hole, and back up through the loop. And you want to keep kind of sliding these stitches along here tightly together, and you keep the little ridge that it forms up at the top. Okay? I will finish this section and I'll show you the next. Alright, as you can see, I have finished. I have a little strand here, but don't worry about that. That will get incorporated into, you just weave it into the center section. So what you're going to do now is take your next color. I've chosen orange because I'm doing this in all autumn colors. So again, I have put, this is the cut section of the thread, and I've put the 2 ends of the cut section through the needle so that I have a loop at the end. So once I thread the needle through here, I will not have a knot. And I'm going to go down through the hole again. And I'm going to pick up the loop, just go through it. You can see I've pulled it, make sure you pull it snug. And then I'm going to wrap this thread around the ring to form spokes, like bicycle spokes. So you're going to put it around, and then you rotate just slightly to the side. You want to have about 8 spokes. Let them crisscross in the middle, and come around. Every time it crosses the top, the back will not look the same. You want the spokes to look right on the front. So you're going to go across and rotate it, and then go across and rotate it. And I've got it caught on something. Okay, there you can see I have 8 spokes. The back is a mess. Just ignore the back. It'll end up looking straight once you get everything woven in. So now you're going to come up through the back and you're going to go in one spoke and then you'll go across to the spoke right across. So you're going to come up through one and down through the other. You're basically forming the hub of your wheel. And this is going to hold all of your spokes in place, but you want to do it tightly. So I'm going to come up through the center, and you try to tie in these back spokes kind of uniformly as you go. Like I said, they're not as neat looking as the front, but they will be once you finish. So you're just going to rotate your way around the ring, going up through one spoke and down through the spoke directly across from it until you've gone all the way around. And don't worry if your hub is not exactly in the center, because as you weave around it kind of straightens itself out. So here's what it looks like now. And my thread is in the back. And now I'm going to start with the same orange, and you're just going to weave up and down all the way around in a circle. So it's just going to be under and over, up through a spoke, down through a spoke, and go all the way around. Okay. Now your second time around, because your spokes are even, and you want your next row to be the opposite of what you did before. So in other words, if you went over a spoke, the next time you come around, you want to go under that spoke. So you do have to skip a spoke at one point in order to make it work that way. So, and I do that from the underside so it doesn't show as much, because the back of the button nobody's going to see. Okay, I've gone all the way around. So now I'm going to skip a spoke and then I'm going to come up and go around. So that if I went over a spoke, this time I'm going under the spoke. Okay. You can see the weave pattern starting to form. And I'm going to change colors at this point. Okay, I've changed to green, and again I've threaded my needle the same way that I did before. I'm going to come up through the back of one of the spokes, up through the back, go down, and again I'm going to pick up that loop just so I don't have a knot. And then I'm going to continue weaving all the way around, just like I did with the orange. You can see I've gone all the way around, and now I'm going to do the opposite. This spoke here I went under, I'm now going to go over, so I'll have to skip a spoke in order to do that. If you hear barking, that's my neighbor's dog. He barks every time he comes outside. Okay, I've gone around twice, and here's what it looks like. It still looks slightly off center, but it will kind of adjust itself as you go. And you can always go just go back and forth like you would short rows to fill in the difference. So I'm going to do a few more rows of this green, and then I'll come back and do a final color. Okay, my last color is a dark, kind of an umber or a burnt orange, and I've attached it the same way I have with the other ones. Now the back, where you've got all these little threads, I just hold them alongside the back of a spoke so that as I'm weaving over and under, they actually get caught up and woven in, and then at the end I just trim them, because this is the back of the button. It doesn't need to look as neat because nobody's going to see it anyway. But here's what the front of the button looks like so far. So we have yellow, and then I have orange and green, and now I'm going to have a dark orange on the side. So again, I'm just going to do the same under and over method that I did. I started with an over, so it goes under and over, and I'm going to do a few rows of that just to finish the button off. So this is a simple button, and it's only taken me maybe 10 minutes to make, maybe less. So the more intricate ones, the ones that I made with the beads, that took longer because I had to think about what I was doing, because I had never made one before. And the first time I did one of these, it took a while. But once I caught on to it, it goes pretty quick. So you can make these buttons relatively fast. You could sit down and make maybe 6 of them in a little over an hour. So we're almost done, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're finished. We're finished. Oops. Yeah. Here we have our finished Dorset button. This is the back. It's not as neat. You can take and use your needle and kind of thread through the back. Like I said, it's the back of a button. No one's going to notice that. So if you mess it up, it's not a big deal. So you could do these in any colors. This one, can't get it too close, it gets too blurry. My camera is not the greatest for tiny work like this. And that's kind of what it looks like straight across. It's pretty flat. So there is my button tutorial.